This is Dr. Neufeld with my notes on latitude and longitude. This is a thing that most Americans do not know about, and that's why I'd love to teach you about this. I know it looks like it can be really complex and difficult, but there are only a few basic things, and once you got it down, you're going to find out how easy it is. Now, latitude and longitude, the great thing about it is that when you hear a number, or two numbers, I should say, you can locate any place in the world, all the way down to a city, just by hearing the numbers. Now, since we're just starting, yeah, we're going to be looking on a map to locate it. But if you get really good at this, if I give you some numbers and directions, you're going to be able to name the place on Earth that I'm talking about. So let's move on to see how this works. First of all, I said latitude and longitude. Let's just start with latitude. Okay, latitude are the lines on Earth that you can see on a map, but not in reality. Latitudinal lines are the lines that never touch. Okay, these are latitudinal lines, and they are all a different length. The longest one is the one here at the equator. Each latitude line, as it goes up towards the North Pole or down towards the South Pole, is shorter. Now that's why longitude is completely different than all of this, so keep that in mind. Latitudinal lines never touch, and they are different lengths. And the main latitude line is at the equator, and then the rest are either placed north of the equator or south of the equator. Now, this also is important. Keep this in mind. Latitudinal lines are placed north or south of the equator, but they run from west to east. Now, this is where latitude and longitude can be a little confusing, because longitude is the opposite of this. And when we get to longitude, I'll show you. Latitudinal lines are placed north or south of the equator, but they run from west to east. Now, when you get away all the way to the top of the equator, that's 90 degrees north. When you get at the bottom, it is 90 degrees south. Okay, so these are latitudinal lines that run from west to east, but they are placed north of the equator or south of the equator. All the latitudinal lines never touch, and they are each a different length. Okay, another way of looking at it. Here's 0 degrees latitude. These all here's 30 degrees north, 60 degrees is 90 degrees north. You have the same going south, 30, 60, 90 south. They run from west to east, but they are placed north or south of the equator. They are all different lengths. Okay, the equator is 0 degrees. Here's the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees north. Tropic of Capricorn is 23.5 degrees south. But the North Pole is 90 degrees north. South Pole is 90 degrees south. Here's just looking at a few latitudinal lines. This is looking at latitude only, not longitude. But this is where I can tell you, if you hear a number, you could tell me what city it might be. For example, if I say, if this is 0, 10, 20, 30 degrees north, here's Los Angeles. If I said, I gave you a city and I said it's 32 degrees north, then already in your mind, you can see that it is either Los Angeles or Casablanca or Baghdad. It could be close to Kabul or Shanghai. These are cities that are 32 degrees north, just by hearing it. And same here. Here's 11 degrees south, Lima, Peru, or Darwin, Australia. So those are places around the world. Okay, now let's look at longitude. Remember I said longitude is exactly the opposite. Longitudinal lines have another name. They're called meridian lines. And each longitudinal line goes from the North Pole to the South Pole. So in other words, they are all the same length. Remember, this is different from latitude. Latitude, they're all different lengths. Here, they're all the same length. Latitudinal lines never touch. Longitudinal lines always touch. Again, so it's different. And also, each meridian line, and going up and down, must cross the equator. and they run perpendicular to latitudinal lines. Okay. Or as another reminder, I'll give you the reminder in a minute. First, the main line. Remember, the main line for latitudinal line is the equator. The main line for longitudinal lines is called the prime meridian. And it runs through a place called Greenwich Village in England. And it's because the scientists there came up with this whole latitudinal, longitudinal thing. Then the world decided, okay, we'll run it through their village where they created this. And it's in Greenwich Village, just north of London, England. That is 0 degrees. And that's why, just as latitudinal lines are placed north or south of the equator, longitudinal lines are placed either west, like these, or east of the prime meridian. So longitudinal lines run from north to south, but they're placed from west to east. Remember, this is the exact opposite of latitude, so I hope that helps. Or a couple maps to show you. Longitudinal lines, they all touch. They're all the same length, which is the opposite of latitude lines. They run from the North Pole to the South Pole. They all cross the equator. The longitudinal lines are placed west of the prime meridian, or they're placed east of the prime meridian. 0 degrees, this prime meridian, is the one that runs through a place called Greenwich Village, just north of London, England. And when we're studying this in class, I'll show you, because I've been to Greenwich Village. Great place to see. Here is a map. Remember I showed you a world map that just had latitudinal lines? Well, I can't find one with longitudinal lines only. But for example, if I give you a location for longitude, remember I said Los Angeles is 32 degrees north latitude? But the longitude is, let's see here, well, I can't zero in on this, but it's west longitude. And again, I can't see that number there. That's why you're going to have to zero in when you're practicing on latitude and longitude. So these are the longitudinal lines. So all of these places here are west of the prime meridian. All of these are east of the prime meridian. Right here is, here's the 0. This is 0 degrees longitude, so this is the prime meridian. It says it right there, 0 degrees. So again, latitude are lines that are placed north, like the blue ones, or south, like the red ones of the equator. They are all different lengths, and they all never touch. Those are latitude lines. Longitudinal lines are placed west, which are the red ones, of the prime meridian, and east, like the blue ones of the prime meridian. But these are all the same length, and they all do touch at the North Pole and the South Pole. The main line for latitude is the equator. So latitudinal lines are placed either north or south. So whenever you give a number, you have to give north or south. If you don't, then you have no idea where it is. You have to give north or south. Longitudinal lines are all placed west or east of the prime meridian. And again, when you give a number, you have to say if they are west or east. If you do not, then people have no idea where it's at. Keep that in mind. So this is when you give a location, what you have to say. You have to give a number, then you say degrees, then you must say north or south. In fact, let me go backwards. Let me see if it'll take us backwards. Yes. I think it's going to go ahead again. But you have to give a number, you have to say degrees, and then you have to say north or south and say the word latitude. Then you say the word by, then you give a number, say degrees, and then you must say west or east, longitude. You must. Number, north or south, by, a number, west or east. You always say the latitude first and the longitude second. Once you hear all of this, it makes it much easier to have an idea of where we're looking. And that's why I was telling you, when you hear numbers, for example, if I hear someplace that's blah, 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 north latitude and blah, 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 west longitude, must be North America, somewhere in North America. In fact, here is north latitude by west longitude. This is north latitude by east longitude. This is south latitude by west longitude. This is south latitude by east longitude. So if I hear something that's north and west, it's got to be North America. Now it's possible, could be a little part of South America, but most of North America. If I hear of a place that is north and east, it's either Europe or Asia. Now this is where Africa, though, being where it's located, can be north and west, north and east, or south and east. So you can't tell with Africa. But other continents, this is northwest, this is northeast, Europe and Asia northeast. South America is southeast for latitude and longitude. And Australia is south and east. And Antarctica is south and east. So to make it a little bit easier, is I found a video that is fantastic to help you do some plotting. Now, so it doesn't take time, I'm not going to play it here on this video. I'm just going to start it real quick, but I did place it on my website. This is a great way to help you figure out how to do some latitude and longitude. In fact, you can see it here. Let me turn on the sound.
Hottest part of the world. What's the first thing say? Yes, 30 degrees south. First thing we're going to do.
Okay, so this location is 40 degrees north by 100 west. Now he's plotting a new one, 30 south by 140 east. It's got to be over here somewhere. So you can watch this video. So I hope you already am a little interested in latitude and longitude. I love playing with this. Email me if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.